The Day You Begin is an amazing book by Jacqueline Woodson. She's the author that wrote the award-winning book Brown Girl Dreaming, and she also wrote a picture book called The Other Side. She's got a new release coming out this fall called Harbor Me. It's a story about feeling like an outsider, either because of how you look or speak or because of your cultural heritage, even for things as simple as bringing an unusual lunch to school. This book covers all of these themes. Now, it's called The Day You Begin because it's referring to the day you find your courage to share something about yourself with others, and in so doing, discovering you actually have more in common with them than you'd originally thought. And this commonality helps you feel like less of an outsider. Now, there's something magical about this author's writing. It's very lyrical and poignant, but she also uses spacing between lines very creatively, causing readers to pause longer between certain sentences, and this gives more weight to her message. So I think it's a really good read aloud because I think a lot of kids will relate to feeling like an outsider, and it also promotes healthy classroom dynamics. I love this book called Little Brown by Marla Frazee. It's actually very similar in its theme to the last book I just spoke about called The Day You Begin. In fact, you could even do a text-to-text comparison with it. It's about a group of dogs and why they exclude one of them and how that dog feels about being excluded. But what's really brilliant is how the author shows what each dog is thinking, even though one that's being excluded. I think it would be fun for teachers to ask students what they think the dogs are thinking before reading this page to them. But the best part is that there's no solution, no neat, tidy ending here. It's up to the readers to think about how things could be handled differently for a better outcome. So I think this is a really fantastic book because it gets kids thinking very critically about the whole issue around excluding other kids and develops their empathy and gets them to think creatively in terms of solving problems. So for those reasons, it's a fantastic book to share. Also want to give a shout out to this book called All Are Welcome by Alexandra Penfold. It's got a cool dust jacket with a poster on the back. It's got rhyming text and it really embraces diversity and inclusion. So it's a great book to share, and it also comes in French. So I Am Human by Peter Reynolds is his latest release, and fans of Peter Reynolds won't be disappointed in this book. He has an incredible gift for taking a complex topic and distilling it down to its essence and leaving us all feeling more hopeful and connected. What Can a Citizen Do by Dave Eggers. This is an awesome read aloud about citizenship. It's got one or two short rhyming sentences on each page that tells all the ways one can become civically engaged. I love this page because it reminds us that good citizenship means we can think beyond ourselves and put the needs of society ahead of our own. So there's some tremendous new French picture books available. One of them is called Je vois la mer, or Town by the Sea in English. It's written by a couple of Canadians, Joanne Schwartz, and the illustrations are by Sidney Smith. Some of you might know Sidney Smith's work because he illustrated the Sidewalk Flowers. In English, this book was nominated for the Governor-General's Literary Award, and it also was a finalist for the TD Literary Award as well. The story is set in a small Cape Breton mining town and takes us through the typical day of a young boy. His sun-soaked days are carefree and filled with variety and adventure. In contrast, his father spends his days in a carbon mine deep below the ocean floor. The illustrations really show such a contrast between the lives of father and son. At the end, the son reflects that one day it will be his turn to work in the mine because in his town, that's just the way it goes. There's no sense of injustice or complaint in his comment, only resignation. This book really showcases the harsh realities faced by many Canadians, particularly those living in rural Canada in the past. And that was that many people didn't have choice when it came to career opportunities. It's a terrific book for showcasing the differences between rural versus urban communities, family life in the past and present, and social inequities. So for those reasons, I think it's a great book. So I know this is a French segment and I'm holding up an English book, but that's because the French edition didn't arrive in time for this filming, but I wanted to show it anyway because it's that good of a book. It's called The 11th Hour in English, and it's called Jules et Jim, Frères d'Armes, and it's written by Jacques Goldstein. And it's a terrific Remembrance Day read aloud. It's a fictional story about the true Canadian soldier who was the last one to die at the end of World War I. He passed away 2 minutes before the armistice was signed. So great Remembrance Day read aloud. And The illustrations are lovely. There's not too much text per page, and I think your kids will like it. Tout Rond is a beautiful book by Joyce Sidman. It's about all things round, and it connects with math and geometry. Voici Viola Desmond, finally a new picture book about this famous Black Canadian. It's about time, and it comes in English and French, and it's very topical because she's on the $10 bill. Other books in this series are, there's one about Chris Hadfield, and there's a new one coming out in December about Tommy Longboat. He's the famous Aboriginal Canadian who won the Boston Marathon back at the turn of the century. Great addition to your library. Combien d'arbres is a really cute story that focuses on inquiry. It asks the question, how many trees does it take to make a forest? And one by one, each animal takes a guess, but it's the tiny little ant that solves the mystery, and in doing so, asks the others the question, which came first, the seed or the tree? Many of you might be familiar with the English edition of this book. It's called Be Who You Are in English, and it's a Todd Parr book, so I know a lot of people love Todd Parr. This one embraces our individuality and promotes self-esteem. You can find all of these books on our website, and you can also follow me on Twitter. Bye for now.